Welcome, everyone, to Wisdom and Wealth. On this channel, we delve into the timeless wisdom that guides us toward not only financial prosperity but also a richer, more meaningful existence. Today, we're exploring a profound teaching gleaned from the heart of Buddhist philosophy and Zen practice, principles that resonate deeply, especially for those of us who've journeyed through life's inevitable trials. Before we dive in, if you find value in these reflections, please consider subscribing to the channel. It's a simple click that helps us reach more people seeking wisdom and guidance. The lotus, as the old saying reminds us, grows from the deepest mud. It's a powerful metaphor for our own lives. Pain isn't meant to break us, rather, it sculpts us, refining our character and resilience. Suffering, that unavoidable companion on the path, isn't sent to ruin the soul. Instead, it arrives to awaken us, to strip away illusions and reveal a deeper truth. Every scar, whether from loss, heartbreak, abandonment, or betrayal, carries within it a silent teaching, a coded message from existence itself. Think of it this way: this wound, the one that feels so raw and tender right now, shall become your window, a portal to a new perspective and understanding. And it is in the dark corners of our lives that we find the most illuminating truths. In Zen and Buddhist teachings, suffering isn't treated as some enemy to be destroyed or avoided at all costs. Instead, it's recognized as a teacher, a wise and patient guide patiently waiting to be heard. The Buddha himself didn't shy away from this truth. He declared it as the first noble truth. Dukkha, suffering, dissatisfaction, restlessness, unease, these are all inherent parts of existence. They are not a punishment inflicted upon us, but rather a profound opportunity to awaken from illusion and to see the world, and ourselves, as we truly are. It's a chance to peel back the layers of delusion and connect with the core of our being. As we continue on our journey, remember to like and subscribe so that you are notified when future videos are released. Yet, it's also true that not everyone emerges from their suffering transformed. It's those who look deeply, those who allow their wounds to become mirrors reflecting their inner landscape, who truly begin to change. They walk differently. They speak differently. They love differently. They radiate a sense of stillness, even as the storms of life continue to pass through them. Today's video reveals 12 subtle yet powerful traits that silently mark those who have suffered deeply and who have actively chosen to grow from it. These characteristics aren't badges of victimhood, but rather emblems of resilience and wisdom. These traits, forged in the crucible of suffering, aren't always easily noticed by ordinary eyes. But to those walking the path of awakening, they shine like lanterns illuminating a dark forest, guiding the way forward. Let's begin our exploration of these traits now, by following the life of a silent walker on the path. Don't focus on names or nations. Instead, pay attention to the quiet movements of consciousness, the subtle shifts in perspective. This tale reflects the soul of anyone who has been touched by sorrow and who has chosen to rise, not by escaping pain, but by walking through it mindfully and with intention. 1. Quiet eyes that see everything. Those who have suffered deeply often carry a particular quality in their eyes. They no longer chase after fleeting appearances or superficial realities. Their eyes have witnessed collapse, endings, and the fading of illusions. They no longer sparkle with naive expectation, but shine with quiet awareness. The walker in our story used to stare outward, constantly seeking beauty, recognition, and warmth. But after life pulled away what was loved most, the gaze turned inward. One evening, as the wind passed slowly across the leaves, the walker sat still, staring at nothing in particular. But within that apparent nothingness, everything could be seen. Not just the surface, but the feeling that lay underneath it. Not just the smiles, but the pain and vulnerability behind them. If you're finding this content insightful, remember to like and subscribe. This is the first trait, a gaze of truth, unshaken by masks, that no longer seeks to judge, but simply to understand. In losing the old way of seeing, the soul gains a new kind of vision, one that pierces through illusion and walks with compassion. 2. A voice that doesn't speak much but speaks deeply. After suffering, words lose their excess. They no longer serve to impress or persuade. Instead, they begin to serve the silence from which they arise. The walker began to speak less, not from shyness, but from a sense of reverence for the power of words. Every word felt like a ripple on still water, capable of disturbing the tranquility. Once, someone asked, "Why are you so quiet?" The walker smiled gently and replied, "I only speak when the silence agrees." From that day on, others began to listen more attentively, as if each word spoken carried a weight of gravity. Deep suffering teaches a person that the most powerful language is presence, not speech. Silence becomes a sanctuary, a place of inner refuge, and when words do arise, they echo long after they fall. 3. Boundaries that are soft yet unshakable. Those who have suffered deeply no longer tolerate chaos disguised as affection. The walker once allowed many footsteps into the heart, blurring the lines of personal space. Pleasing others felt like love, but love without self-respect is not love at all. It is fear masquerading as something noble. After betrayal broke the inner walls, the walker learned the art of creating sacred space, defining their limits and needs. Now, the walker's boundaries are neither harsh nor aggressive. They are gentle like the wind and strong like mountains, resilient and unyielding. A simple look, a calm no, or a silent withdrawal is enough to protect their peace. Those who have suffered understand that peace is precious, and they protect it, not with violence, but with presence. From pain, they build invisible fences, not to shut out the world, but to keep the heart in harmony. This wisdom helps them to navigate relationships with both openness and discernment. 4. Compassion without attachment. Pain brings empathy, but those who awaken through pain go beyond simple empathy. They no longer try to rescue everyone. They understand that each soul has its own karma, its own timing, and its own unique path to follow. The walker once exhausted themselves trying to save others from their sorrow. But true compassion does not interfere or control. Remember to like and subscribe, as it helps us get this message out to those who need to hear it. Instead, it walks beside, never ahead. It does not carry others, it holds space for them to grow. This is the 4th trait, a love that is free, not controlling. No longer driven by guilt or fear, they offer kindness with freedom and detachment, like a lantern lit and left gently on the path, offering guidance without imposing direction. 5. A relationship with solitude that feels like home. To the one who has suffered deeply, solitude is not loneliness. It is the temple of healing, the sanctuary where the soul can reconnect with its own essence. The walker, once afraid of silence, now cherishes it. Once afraid of empty rooms, now prays in them. Suffering isolates, but those who remain awake in that isolation learn to love the sound of their own breath, the feel of their own soul, the whisper of their own thoughts. They no longer fear being alone because they are no longer alone inside themselves. They have cultivated a rich inner world that sustains and nourishes them. 6. A smile that knows sadness. This trait is often misunderstood. Their smile isn't naive or superficial. It isn't the smile of someone who has never been broken. It is the smile of someone who was broken but rebuilt again, piece by piece, with gold. The walker began to smile differently, not because pain disappeared entirely, but because it taught them the impermanence of all things, even suffering. In laughter, tears often hid. In sorrow, laughter waited, a glimmer of hope on the horizon. This paradox became a source of inner peace. Their smile doesn't deny the existence of sadness. It welcomes it, transforms it, and shines through it. 7. Deep presence in simple things. When you suffer deeply, the taste of life becomes sharper. The sun feels warmer on your skin. The wind feels kinder as it brushes past your face. The walker's story took a decisive turn when they realized that even after losing everything, the breath still came each morning. Sipping tea, feeling the grass under your bare feet, listening to the melodies of birds, all became sacred experiences. Suffering cuts away the excesses of the ego, which no longer chases after grand moments. It bows in reverence before small miracles. Gratitude becomes effortless because everything now feels like a gift. 8. An aura that calms chaos. Without saying a single word, the energy of someone who has suffered deeply and chosen to grow from it can be profoundly calming to others. They radiate a sense of stillness, and simply walking into a room with them can soften the surrounding tension. Why is this? Because they have faced the storms within themselves and learned to be the eye of those storms. Others sense this, not through logic, but through a subtle shift in presence. The walker, once practically invisible, began to be noticed, not for their outer appearance, but for the inner peace they emanated. In their stillness, people felt safe, reassured by their equanimity. Without even trying, they teach others how to breathe again. 9. Detachment from outcome, devotion to action. After suffering strips away illusions, attachment to control fades. The walker once feared uncertainty and struggled against the unpredictable currents of life. But loss taught them that control is, in many ways, an illusion. Now, the walker moves with focused action, putting their best effort forward, but without being overly attached to the results. They give their best and then let go. This isn't laziness or apathy. This is liberation, a release from the tyranny of expectation. They do their part fully, knowing they have contributed their utmost, but release the rest to the universe, trusting in the natural unfolding of events. This trust creates serenity, which allows them to face whatever comes their way with grace and resilience. 10. No need to prove, just a need to be. Pain burns away pride and the need for external validation. Those who suffer deeply often stop trying to impress others or to meet unrealistic standards. They no longer chase applause. They begin to live from the inside out. The journey is about themselves and their journey from the beginning. The walker used to measure their worth through external validation, seeking approval and acceptance from those around them. But suffering became a mirror, reflecting their authentic essence back to them. They began to walk without needing to offer explanations for their choices and to stand without needing to defend their values. They live in truth, not performance, and in that truth, they feel truly free. 11. Acceptance of the unchangeable. Those who awaken through pain stop resisting reality. They do not fight what cannot be changed. Instead, they bow to it. The walker once battled against memories, regrets, and old stories that haunted them. But suffering taught them the power of surrender, not as a sign of defeat, but as a pathway to peace. Surrender means seeing things clearly and choosing peace over resentment and bitterness. What cannot be controlled is no longer feared, because it is accepted as part of the natural order. Acceptance becomes the root of liberation and freedom. Finally, 12. An inner strength that looks like gentleness. True strength is not loud, boastful, or aggressive. It is not armor designed to deflect every blow. It is the ability to remain soft and open in a world that can often be hard and unforgiving. Thanks for watching. The walker once mistook strength for toughness, believing that emotional resilience meant suppressing vulnerability and building walls around the heart. But suffering revealed the far greater power of tenderness. Kindness became their sword, their tool for cutting through negativity. Forgiveness became their shield, protecting them from the corrosive effects of resentment. Gentleness became their armor, deflecting the blows of the world without hardening the heart. Remember to subscribe and select the bell notification so that you will know whenever new videos are released. They learn to be like water, flexible, soft, yet able to cut through stone with persistent effort. The flame that refuses to die, it burns even when the world is against it. These teachings are not meant to glorify suffering or to suggest that pain is inherently desirable. Instead, they are meant to reveal its hidden gift, the potential for profound transformation that lies within. Remember to leave a comment, even a simple hello, so that I know you were here watching with me. Pain is not sacred by itself, but it becomes sacred when it transforms you, when it compels you to grow and to evolve. The walker in this story could be anyone, you, me, anyone who walks through the fire and chooses not to become bitter but to become better, wiser, and more compassionate. These 12 traits aren't signs of brokenness. They are the quiet symbols of a soul that has passed through the darkest night and has found its way to the moonlit path of understanding. Each trait whispers something deeper. I have fallen, but I chose to rise. I was alone, but I learned to become whole. I felt lost, but I found myself. And perhaps that is the ultimate reward of suffering, not a life without wounds, but a soul overflowing with wisdom, resilience, and profound compassion. The next time you meet someone who walks softly, listens deeply, smiles gently, and speaks sparingly, do not mistake their quietness for weakness. Before you go, remember to click the subscribe button and select the notification bell to be notified when new videos are released. They are the ones who have suffered and chosen to transform that suffering into serenity and strength. And if you are still in the midst of the fire, let this be your promise: you are not being destroyed. You are being reshaped. The wound is not the end, it is only the beginning. It is the alchemy of inner transformation, the process of turning pain into something beautiful and meaningful. As we sit with these 12 traits, a deeper truth begins to rise. That pain is not the end of the story, but the forge of the soul, the place where our true character is forged. Reflection in Zen isn't merely thinking or analyzing. It is seeing with new eyes, tasting the silence within the lesson, and integrating it into our being. Let us now sit with each trait again, not as a list to be memorized, but as a living energy, and reflect on how these traits whisper the Dharma, the universal law of truth, through the lives of those who walk quietly with their scars. We look forward to seeing you in future videos. 1. Quiet eyes that see everything. Pain opens perception, sharpening our senses and broadening our awareness. Those who once rushed past life now pause, taking in the subtle details that they once overlooked. What was once ignored becomes visible, imbued with a new significance. The eyes no longer search for perfection, but for truth, however uncomfortable it may be. These eyes recognize suffering in others, not through intellectual analysis, but through a deep sense of resonance, a knowing that arises from shared experience. They no longer judge, but simply witness. And in this act of compassionate witnessing, true understanding is born. Not pity, which can be condescending, but profound empathy, which connects us heart to heart. These eyes no longer seek answers externally. They mirror them, reflecting the inherent wisdom that lies within. They carry the stillness of someone who no longer needs to look far to see deeply, knowing that the answers they seek are already present within their own being. 2. A voice that doesn't speak much but speaks deeply. The deepest words are often the fewest, stripped of ornamentation and pretense. After suffering, language sheds its superficiality. Words come from experience, from the authenticity of lived reality, not from mere opinion or second-hand knowledge. Thank you for spending time with me today. Silence becomes the true tongue of the awakened, a sanctuary from the noise and distractions of the world. And when words do rise from that stillness, they enter others like water into dry earth, nourishing their souls and awakening their own inner wisdom. This voice no longer shouts to be heard or manipulates to be obeyed. It speaks so that truth can rise in others, empowering them to find their own voice. Its power is not in sound, but in substance, in the authenticity and integrity of its message. 3. Boundaries that are soft yet unshakable. Those who have suffered deeply learn this crucial wisdom. Love does not require self-abandonment. A strong soul does not seek to please others at the expense of their own peace. They now protect their energy, not out of fear or selfishness, but out of reverence for the preciousness of their own well-being. They bless others from a distance if closeness causes pain, respecting their own limits and needs. Boundaries are no longer walls of isolation, constructed to keep the world at bay. They are sacred agreements with the self to remain whole, even in a fragmented world, allowing them to maintain connection without sacrificing their integrity. 4. compassion without attachment. They have watched others sink, struggling in the depths of their own suffering. They have learned, often through painful experience, that even the most profound love cannot save someone who refuses to swim, who is unwilling to take responsibility for their own journey. They let go, not from coldness or indifference, but from clarity and a deep understanding of the limits of their own influence. They remain present, offering support and encouragement, but detached from the outcome, knowing that each individual must ultimately find their own way. They care wisely, recognizing the importance of allowing others to learn from their own experiences. This compassion flows without chains, unburdened by the need to control or fix. It is not a savior's grip, but a lantern placed gently on the path, offering guidance without imposing direction. 5. A relationship with solitude that feels like home. Alone does not mean empty. In fact, it is in solitude that the soul finds its original light again, reconnecting with its source of inner wisdom and strength. The one who has suffered deeply builds a temple in their heart, a sanctuary where they can retreat from the storms of the world and find refuge in their own presence. Meditation becomes a nourishing meal, feeding the soul and quieting the mind. Breath becomes prayer, a constant reminder of the life force that sustains and connects us all. Loneliness dissolves into oneness, a recognition that we are all part of something larger than ourselves. Solitude becomes not a prison, but a monastery, a sacred space to remember that you are already whole, complete, and perfect just as you are. 6. A smile that knows sadness. A smile that knows sorrow is not fragile or easily broken. It is resilient, forged in the crucible of suffering and tempered by the fires of experience. It is the soft expression of someone who walked through the storm and still chose to embrace the light. This smile does not pretend that pain doesn't exist. It accepts it, acknowledging the reality of human suffering without succumbing to despair. It invites others to feel safe in being real, in sharing their own vulnerabilities and imperfections. This smile is not a mask, hiding something dark or shameful. It is the light peeking through the cracks of healed wounds, a testament to the transformative power of resilience. 7. Deep presence in simple things. After loss, the soul becomes exquisitely sensitive to life's subtle gifts, the everyday miracles that we often overlook in our busy pursuit of grand achievements. Each moment becomes rich, sacred, and complete in itself. Remember to click subscribe now. They no longer seek paradise in faraway dreams or future fantasies. They find it in the simple act of breathing, in the touch of water on their skin, in the gentle whisper of the wind through the trees. The simple things become sacred scriptures, revealing the profound beauty and interconnectedness of all life. Presence becomes the prayer, the constant practice of being fully awake and engaged in each moment, appreciating the ordinary wonders that surround us. 8. An aura that calms chaos. Their energy is medicine, healing and restorative, because they have met their own darkness and not run from it in fear. They have faced their demons and learned to integrate them into their being. They no longer fear the chaos in others, knowing that it is simply a reflection of the inner turmoil that all humans experience. They do not fight energy, trying to suppress or control it. They transmute it, transforming negative emotions into positive forces for good. Just being near them makes others breathe slower, softer, and deeper, inviting them to relax into their own inherent peace. Their aura whispers, "You are safe to be, just as you are. You are accepted and loved unconditionally." They radiate peace, not because life has gotten easier for them, but because they have stopped resisting what is, surrendering to the present moment and finding contentment in its embrace. 9. Detachment from outcome, devotion to action. They do not act for reward, seeking external praise or recognition. They act because it is right, guided by their own inner compass of morality and compassion. Their devotion is to the moment, to putting forth their best effort in each task, not to the ultimate result or the final outcome. This detachment is not apathy or indifference. It is mastery, the ability to give their all without clinging to the need for a specific result. Like the archer who releases the arrow with focus and precision, then bows, knowing that the flight is no longer theirs to control. Their peace lies in their effort, in the integrity of their actions, not in the unpredictable whims of fate. They let go, not because they give up, but because they trust in the natural unfolding of events, surrendering to the wisdom of the universe. 10. No need to prove, just a need to be. Suffering strips away the need to be seen, admired, or validated by others. The one who has suffered deeply no longer seeks applause or recognition. They seek authenticity, a genuine expression of their true self. No longer interested in performance or pretense, they choose truthful presence, embodying their values and living in alignment with their inner truth. They walk not to impress, but to express who they truly are, without apology or hesitation. They are enough, complete and whole, without decoration or embellishment. The soul, once crushed by expectation, now rises quietly in its natural form, embracing its imperfections and celebrating its unique beauty. 11. Acceptance of the unchangeable. Peace is born not from changing life to suit our desires, but from aligning with its inherent rhythm, surrendering to its natural flow. After pain, the soul learns that resistance is suffering. The more we struggle against what is, the more we prolong our own pain. They begin to bow, not to defeat, but to wisdom, acknowledging the limits of their own control and surrendering to the greater forces at play. In bowing to what is, they awaken to what can be, opening themselves to new possibilities and unexpected opportunities. What once broke them now softens them, making them more compassionate and understanding. What once angered them now teaches them, revealing valuable lessons about resilience, forgiveness, and the interconnectedness of all things. Acceptance becomes their liberation, freeing them from the shackles of resentment and empowering them to create a more peaceful and fulfilling life. 12. An inner strength that looks like gentleness. The world often mistakes gentleness for weakness, equating it with passivity or lack of conviction. But those who have suffered deeply know that gentleness is strength under control, a deliberate choice to respond with compassion and understanding, even in the face of adversity. It is the strength to be kind in an unkind world, to offer forgiveness when vengeance whispers, and to remain open-hearted in a world that often tries to close you off. Their softness is not born from ease or privilege. It is born from depth, from having faced their own darkness and emerged with a greater capacity for empathy and understanding. It is forged in fire and flows like water, adapting to any situation and nurturing all life. These are the signs of healing. Thank you for joining us. Now the teachings have been spoken, the traits described, and the reflections offered. But the true teaching begins only when you turn your gaze inward and examine your own heart. Ask not, do I know someone like this? Instead, ask, what part of this lives within me? What seeds of resilience, compassion, and wisdom have already been planted in my own soul? Each trait is a doorway, an invitation to explore a deeper aspect of yourself. Each pain you have survived has carved one of these paths within you, shaping your character and expanding your capacity for love and understanding. Do not dismiss your wounds or bury them in shame. They are not signs of weakness or failure, but rather emblems of becoming, evidence of your courage to face the darkness and emerge stronger on the other side. In Zen, the master once asked a disciple, "What is the most precious thing in the world?" The disciple replied, "A heart that knows pain and still chooses peace." And so may you too choose peace, not by escaping pain, but by walking through it awake, with compassion for yourself and for all beings. Your silence, your scars, your stillness, they are not your shame. They are your shrine, sacred reminders of the journey you have undertaken and the wisdom you have gained along the way. Remember to subscribe to my channel as well. Bow, breathe, and continue on your path. You are not behind. You are blooming in your own season, unfolding in perfect timing, just as you were meant to. I truly hope that this video helped you in some way. Thank you for watching Wisdom and Wealth. Please be sure to leave a comment or two below.